In addition to the trio and the other main characters, Roy Clarke introduced a cast of semi-regular characters working in the town. Most of these officials are diligent and thorough. Then there are the police, in a league of their own. In the early years of the show, the trio frequently visited the library and had an uneasy relationship with the librarians. BBC management did not like the title Last of the Summer Wine, so someone suggested the Library Mob, which nobody seemed to like. As the library became used less often, it would not have been a good choice. Blake Butler was born in Grantham, Lincolnshire, but the Butler family were Irish landed gentry. He was descended from James Butler, 10th Baron Dunboyne. Rosemary Martin appeared in many films and is known for television roles in Oh No It's Selwyn Froggatt, Pennies from Heaven and Tenko. Kate Brown is known for Dixon of Dock Green, The Way of the World and The Expert. She left acting in 1976 to move to America. Clegg astutely describes Wainwright as a left-wing lecherous librarian. Mr. Wainwright, who lives alone in digs, is clearly less interested in stacking books than having an illicit romance with his assistant Miss Partridge. That is, until he's distracted by the trio and he throws them out of the library. The trio were thrown out on several occasions and the librarian's affair was short-lived. Miss Partridge is not seen again after Series 1. Mr. Wainwright is not in Series 2 but transferred back to the area in the third series, featuring in 2 episodes where he romances his new assistant Miss Moody. Miss Moody shares Mr. Wainwright's dreams about revolution. In the Series 3 episode Isometrics and After, she is the first person to suffer witnessing the contents of Compo's matchbox. Blake Butler died on the 15th of April 1981 in Bedford Park, London. Rosemary Martin died on the 14th of August 1998. June Watson is known for The Death of Stalin, 102 Dalmatians and The Lady in the Van. Janet Davis was in 30 episodes of Dad's Army as Mrs. Pike. It is shown in Series 1 that Mr. Wainwright approves of the books with 4-letter words, unlike Miss Probert, who takes over in Series 2. Miss Probert is a radical feminist who is always denouncing men to the timid Miss Jones. Miss Probert has 2 missions in life. One, discouraging the lending out of books she considers filthy. The other is making a misandress out of Miss Jones, in whom she takes more than a professional interest. Miss Probert's disappearance from the series is unexplained, and it's presumed she went back to wherever she came from. Miss Jones is a quiet, timid female who is overshadowed by Miss Probert. She always does what Miss Probert asks without question or protest. She'd previously worked in a children's library, which she frequently says she wants to return to. Like Miss Probert, her disappearance is unexplained and it's presumed she returned to the children's library. This is most likely due to the remark she made to Miss Probert about wanting to go back where Puss in Boots means just that, and not that awful magazine. Janet Davis died from cancer on the 22nd of September 1986 in Bromley, Kent. Although Miss Davenport is a librarian, she has no storyline connecting to her bibliophile predecessors. Miss Davenport feels unloved and unfulfilled, frustrated that life is not like the romantic novels and literary classics she reads. Josephine Tewson was born in Hampstead, London. After grammar school, Tewson studied at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art and graduated in 1952. She was a regular performer in TV comedy sketches with Ronnie Barker in Hark at Barker and in the BBC comedy programme Mostly Monkhouse, supporting Bob Monkhouse. She also appeared a few times in Z-Cars and The Charlie Drake Show. Tewson played Edna Hawkins in the first 6 series of Thames Television sitcom Shelley. Later, she played Jane Travers in Ronnie Barker's sitcom Clarence. Josephine Tewson is best known for her role as Elizabeth Warden, neighbour and reluctant confidant of social wannabe Hyacinth Bouquet in Keeping Up Appearances, also written by Roy Clarke. After many years of the library setting being mostly unused, Miss Davenport was introduced as the new librarian in 2003. A very emotional woman, haunted by a string of past rejections. She first appeared driving a van with Gavin Hinchcliffe on the roof practising skiing in the Series 24 episode in which Gavin Hinchcliffe loses the Gulfstream. Originally, Glenda takes up the cause of socialising her and tries to fit her in with the coffee circle of Edie, Nora, Ivy and Pearl. The other ladies do not take well to her idealistic literary thoughts on life. Miss Davenport takes a shine to Electric Entwistle. His van keeps breaking down and she appears keen to help him fix the engine with the aid of a book borrowed from a library. In later episodes she finds a connection with Marina, each longing for love in their individual ways. Miss Davenport has high ideals but has been frequently disappointed. In conversation with Marina she laments, "I find the whole modern world cramped, shrunken, diminished. It lacks poetry, elegance, manners, grace. The men think it can all be replaced by aftershave." In the Series 22 episode, How to Remove a Cousin, Miss Davenport has set aside some books for Marina, who asks, "Which one has a happy ending?" To which Miss Davenport replies, "They all have. I made sure of that. You can do that with books. Life is a bit trickier." In the Series 27 episode, Barry in Danger from Reading and Aunt Jessie, Barry visits the library and innocently asks Miss Davenport about spare time hobbies. She appears to mistake this for a proposition rather than an inquiry about books and kisses him enthusiastically. He makes a hasty escape and later in the episode deliberately avoids her in the street. In the following episode, she sees Barry stopped in his car and apologises, saying she's found someone else. Relieved but flustered, Barry accidentally slips his car into reverse gear and collides with PC's Cooper and Walsh's car. In a later episode, he remains in a tense state when visiting the library, where Miss Davenport admits to Pearl and Nellie she was just teasing him. The Series 27 episode, Oh Look, Mitzi's Found Her Mummy, has what seems like an unintended foreshadowing. Miss Davenport remembers that she nearly married once but says he had to go off to the war. She didn't know which war or if he was in the army or the navy. She says he worked for the gas board. I expect he was undercover. Then, in Series 31, Miss Davenport takes a shine to ex-milkman and supposed undercover MI5 spy Hobbo. He's not so keen on her, as she confides in Marina, "I find myself enormously attracted to Mr. Hobdyke, but I don't think I'm getting through." In the final episode, How Not to Cry at Weddings, she's still unsuccessfully pursuing Hobbo. Josephine Tewson passed away on the 18th of August 2022 at the Denville Hall Retirement Home for Actors in Northwood, London. There are sometimes one-off appearances of police officers in the show, but eventually there were 3 regular PCs, originally only known as First Policeman and Second Policeman, played by Ken Kitson and Tony Capstick. Lewis Emmerich was occasionally Kitson's sidekick and permanently replaced Capstick's character after he died. From Series 25, the 2 PCs are in nearly every episode. Kenneth Kitson had minor parts in programmes such as All Creatures Great and Small, The Sweeney, Minder and Danger UXB. Kitson also appeared in Coronation Street, starting in the 1970s. Tony Capstick was a presenter on BBC Radio Sheffield for over 30 years and he occasionally presented on BBC Radio 2. A regular performer on the folk circuit, he recorded many albums. In 1981 he reached number 3 in the UK singles chart with the double A-side Capstick Comes Home and The Sheffield Grinder. Capstick was also a prolific bit-part actor, with a career including minor roles in Emmerdale and Coronation Street. Lewis Emmerich was born in the Toxteth area of Liverpool and is best known for his portrayal of Mick Johnson in the ITV soap opera Brookside. He also had roles in New Tricks, The Bill and Coronation Street. He has appeared in films such as Layer Cake. None of the PCs do much work. They park their car somewhere quiet while they discuss sandwich fillings, cook sausages on a barbecue, or have a snooze. The original PCs both admit to being bone idle. Despite this, it seems the only reprimand they ever get is over the crumbs they leave in their car from their sandwiches and fast food. PC Walsh comments, "The sergeant says ours is the only car that looks like a crime scene. Ken Kitson's first policeman initially appears in the 1983 Christmas special Getting Sam Home, and he is shown to be a friend of Sid's, which was Sid's last appearance on the show before the death of John Comer. First Policeman makes 2 further guest appearances before becoming a semi-regular character from Series 12 in 1990. First Policeman tends to be the bigger-headed of the two and has many ingenious ways of dealing with petty crimes with minimal disruption to his relaxation. In the Series 29 episode, A Short Introduction to Cooper's Rules, having driven 5 miles into the countryside, he lets a drunk driver out, suggesting this will be fine by the time he gets back to his car, except that he's purposely given the drunk the wrong car keys anyway. Tony Capstick's second policeman makes his first appearance in the 1987 special Big Day at Dream Acres, before coming a semi-regular alongside Kitson from Series 12 up to his death in late 2003. Capstick's character is spacey and less intelligent than Kitson's. After the actor's death, his absence was explained in the Series 26 episode Hermione the Short Course that he had transferred to Huddersfield. Lewis Emmerich, also originally listed as second policeman, first appears along Kitson in the Series 10 episode Downhill Racer. He makes one more appearance in the Series 11 episode 3 Men and a Mangle, and later reappears in 2004 to partner Kitson after Tony Capstick's death. He's more level-headed than Kitson's character, but enjoys taking the mickey, but he tends to be a little more naive. The Series 29 episode, A Short Introduction to Cooper's Rules, broadcast in July 2008, is unique in that it revolves almost entirely around the 2 policemen, who are usually secondary characters. Clegg and Truly are barely seen in this episode. After years of being referred to as first policeman and second policeman, they're finally given names: PC Cooper and PC Walsh. In the episode, Cooper and Walsh are ejecting 2 drunks from the Butcher's Arms. Cooper offers them an alternative to arrest. He gives them each an empty drinks can, telling them it's a disguise tracking device. The drunks are seen later in the episode still carefully holding their tracking cans. Giving the PCs a bigger role must have seemed like a good idea. Unfortunately, despite having guest star Nicholas Smith, Mr. Rumbold from Are You Being Served, as a brilliantly curmudgeon retired vicar, the original broadcast only had 1.75 million viewers. The viewing figure was no doubt affected by the episode being shown on BBC Two due to an unplanned change in schedules. This was due to the late finish of the men's final of the 2008 Wimbledon Championships that had 12.7 million viewers. In 2014, Kitson and Emmerich returned to the roles of PC Cooper and PC Walsh in a set of short films that were released exclusively online. These shorts were pilots to a potential spin-off that never materialised. Tony Capstick was found dead at his cottage on the 23rd of October 2003 in Hoober, South Yorkshire. Brian Rawlinson began his stage career with the Old Vic and appeared in many television plays and films. He also wrote several plays for television. There are a few traffic wardens, usually one-off appearances of supporting actors. Brian Rawlinson's traffic warden makes 3 appearances in the show in Series 16, 17 and 20. In Series 17, the trio recognise him as Cyril Gridley, who used to bully them at school. He was a brief love interest of Marina, causing Howard to tell her he was joining the Foreign Legion. In the Series 20 episode Optimism in the Housing Market, he had the misfortune of seeing Edie Pegden parking on the pavement and ended up driving her around to do her shopping. Brian Rawlinson died on the 23rd of November 2000 in Lyme Regis, Dorset. At least 40 different real pubs are used in the show. In addition, exterior shots of 13 pubs are ordinary homes made to look like a pub courtyard or garden. 16 actors and 3 actresses play the landlords and barmaids, making a total of 40 appearances between them. The actor who is seen most often as landlord is Ron Backhouse, who is the real-life landlord of the White Horse, making 10 credited appearances between 1995 and 2001. When Ron and his wife Ruth left the pub, they ran a stall on Huddersfield Market. Ron Backhouse died on the 1st of November 2018, aged 77. The other two most frequently seen landlords are James Duggan, who made 6 appearances between 1985 and 1990, and Michael Wardle, who made 5 appearances from 1991 to 1993. James Duggan died on the 29th of January 2013. Vickers appeared in the show on 19 occasions, played by 13 different actors. Gerard Hayling makes 3 appearances in the show as a vicar. He was originally seen trying to film Billy Hardcastle at sunrise in the year 2000 special Last Post and Pigeon. There were minor appearances by several postal delivery people, but one postwoman had a significant part in proceedings. I say one postwoman. 3 different actresses played a postwoman, but they all looked so similar it was likely they were supposed to be the same character. Rosemary Chamney only appeared once as a postwoman in the special Uncle of the Bride to deliver packages containing painted eggs to Clegg and Compo from Foggy, who was in Bridlington. As Compo doesn't answer the door, she asks Nora, "You don't think he's dead?" "Oh, I dread that happening. Someday I just know, sooner or later, I'm going to be delivering to somebody dead." Sadly, her fears were realised by the 3rd actress playing the postwoman. Brenda Kempner makes 2 appearances as postlady. She has the distinction of being accidentally proposed to by a drunken Foggy Dewhurst in the December 1997 special There Goes the Groom. Then, despite apparently going to Blackpool with Foggy, she reappears a year later for a final postal delivery. Stephanie Roscoe makes 3 appearances in 2000 and 2001 as a postwoman. It's her duty to deliver 3 letters to Compo, the first containing his passport for the Millennium trip to France, then posthumously letters from his son, Tom, announcing his visit, then one from a solicitor that turns out to be a bequest from his late bookmaker, Birdie, the bookie, for being one of his best customers. Rosemary Chamney died on the 21st of May 1995. Brenda Kempner died on the 17th of July 2013. Stephanie Roscoe died on 19th of January 2013.